Here on Channel 48.
Are you sure you're supposed to be leaving this place, or are you pulling a daring escape?
Oh, no, it's perfectly legal, Kelly. I'm quite all right, really.
Oh, now let me help you with that, Mrs. Saxon.
Thank you, dear.
Now, Geraldine, I think you could use another couple days in bed.
Oh, I fully intend to spend the next several days in bed. I just don't want it to be this bed.
You live at the Monticello Arms, don't you?
Yes, it's a perfectly fine hotel in every way, where everything is done for you, thank heavens. Light housekeeping was not one of my strong points.
Well, good. There'll be somebody there to take care of you.
Oh, yes, there'll be the usual maids and room service people and all that.
But nobody to be with you at all times?
You should have someone, Geraldine, a private nurse at least.
Now, Kelly, the last thing on earth I need is to have someone trailing after me trying to be helpful.
That was quite a knock you took on the head.
You know something, my dear boy. You are much too young to be so fussy. Now, I don't want you to go running off to your aunt and uncle, telling them what a helpless creature I am. I have nothing against sympathy, but I loathe pity.
Speaking of Mike and Nancy, we are due there just about now.
Oh, that's right. We don't want to be late for dinner, do we?
Now, you remember what I said.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hello, I see you're all packed, and you have company.
We were just leaving, Mrs. Whitney.
So nice of you to drop by.
We will be keeping in touch, Geraldine.
Feel better, Mrs. Saxon.
Thank you, my dears.
Good night.
I can't say you were very cordial to those young people.
I don't feel that I have to be cordial to Valerie Bryson if you knew what I knew.
And I hope you're not going to bring up that business about her father. Certainly, she was not to blame for that.
It's much more than that, but forget about her. I'll tell you about her later. Right now, let's get out of this place.
Yes, I'm almost ready.
Okay, the car is waiting downstairs, and Chrissy has prepared your room.
What room?
Why, your room at the Whitney Mansion. Didn't I tell you? You're coming home with me.
The Edge of Night is brought to you by Dawn, the dishwashing liquid that takes grease out of your way, and by Duncan Hines Layer Cake Mixes, Light and Moist Deluxe 2 and Extra Moist Pudding Recipe.
Got a minute? Duncan Hines got a new idea. Delicious desserts with American dash. With just one pan, one Duncan Hines mix, no more than 3 ingredients, no more than 35 minutes of your time, you can make this lemon and luscious dessert easily. Start with Deluxe 2 Lemon Supreme Cake Mix. Bake in a tube pan, cool, split the cake in 3 layers, spread prepared lemon pudding between layers. Frost with whipped topping plus remaining lemon pudding and serve. Wasn't that easy?
This is delicious. You're wonderful.
Duncan Hines Desserts with American Dash. In magazines now. Watch 'em dash through it.
When we set out to improve a great laundry detergent, we wanted to keep the powerful cleaners that work on ordinary dirts, that cut through food stains, that get out grease and oil, and add powerful cleaners that clean collar soil even better than before. So that's what we did. All in the concentrated quarter cup called New Formula Era. So effective, it cleans clean through. Watch Era clean through collar soil, taco grease, and motor oil. We treat only the top with a teaspoon of Era, rub, run under warm water, and look. New Era cleans clean through. That's the kind of power you get in Era's little quarter cup. New Era, power that cleans clean through.
There's no doubt of it, Nancy. Damien Tyler is a man on a mission.
But it seems so hopeless, Mike. I really feel sorry for him, don't you?
It does seem hopeless. Trying to save the reputation of one dead man by ruining the reputation of another dead man.
What did did you think of his theory about that man, Jefferson Brown?
I really can't tell. I would assume those high-powered Washington investigators must have checked him out, too.
Oh, I'm sure they did, and obviously they didn't suspect him of stealing any documents.
In Damien's mind, he's the only alternative. The only other person who might have been guilty.
Still, there might be another answer. It won't be easy to find, though, any easier than it would be to find Jefferson Brown's body.
Of course, Damien doesn't think there is a body. That Brown somehow managed to survive that plane crash the same way Schuyler Whitney did.
You know, as he was telling us this story, I was itching to get to the typewriter.
I can just imagine. Yeah. That would make quite a story, wouldn't it?
Oh, delicious. But it was told to us in confidence, so I'll keep it in confidence.
Now, wait a minute, Nancy. Perhaps Damien wouldn't mind the publicity. It might even help his search.
Oh, honey, I don't think so. I didn't get that impression. He didn't seem to indicate that he really wanted it known. And anyway, from what he said, I don't think that Schuyler Whitney knows exactly what Damien wants from him.
The whereabouts of Jefferson Brown? I'll get that.
Oh.
Hello? Yes, speaking. From whom? Oh, yes, of course. Nancy?
Yes.
It's Switzerland. It's from Draper.
So, what'll it be, fast or slow?
Something with a beat.
Ha-ha, you got it. So anyway, she's leaving first thing in the morning. She is winging her way to Heathrow Airport. That's in London.
That's really exciting. Are you sure she's able to travel? I mean, isn't she really far along?
Well, I think the chances are pretty good that April will have that baby in Europe. She said the kid will probably be born with a foreign accent.
That's a joke, right?
Yes, Bobby, that's a joke. Anyway, it looks like this place is going to have an absentee owner, and that makes me feel really bad, too. Oh, I'm going to miss April. After all, she put me into this business, and she stayed with this place even when we did nothing but lose money for the first couple of months.
You know, but we're doing okay now. Oh, we got enough customers.
Sure. We're finally in the black.
Anyway, it couldn't matter very much to her. She's really rich. What about that fancy apartment? Did she sell it?
Well, I heard that her brother and her sister-in-law are going to move in.
Ooh, are they lucky. I'll never forget that first day I went up to meet you. I've never been in a penthouse before. You know, it's better than in the movies. Boy, I must have dreamed about that place a dozen times since then.
Don't be such a dreamer, Bobby. You don't need penthouses to be happy.
I know what I need.
Oops. Oops, what?
Hi, guys. You open for supper yet?
You know better than that, Teach. We open for dinner in exactly 20 minutes. I thought you knew the schedule by now.
Well, I'm sorry, but I was going to a dance preview tonight, and it's a rather early curtain. But it's okay. I'll grab a hamburger someplace else that doesn't have a schedule.
No, you don't have to do that. Sid, I'm sure there must be something we can fix for Gavin.
Yeah, sure. I can always accommodate a good customer. I'll just go in the kitchen and check.
Thanks, Sid.
You want a beer while you wait?
I'd love one.
So how rehearsals going?
Rehearsals are going great. We're only missing one thing. A leading dancer.
What happened to Jody?
Jody quit the company. I was fired.
Gavin, that's awful. What happened?
It's a long story. I don't want to bore you.
You're not boring me. God, I was really looking forward to that opening.
Well, I'm not so sure there's going to be an opening, Bobby. In fact, I'm not so sure there's even a Whitney Dance Company anymore.
I don't get it. What is going on over there?
Well, Jody isn't ready to be Sky's superstar. So he was going to push her and become a star and make himself look good. She did the right thing and just backed out gracefully.
So it's all her fault. Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say that at all. I urged her to do it, yeah, but I think it's the best thing for her.
Oh, I see. You really care a lot about Jody, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I know it doesn't seem that way with what I've done, but, yeah, I care for her very much.
She's a lucky girl. That's something I never really had in my life. You know, A guy who cared about me as a person.
Oh, I find that hard to believe, Bobby.
Maybe it's my fault. Maybe I just keep picking the losers. Or if they're not losers, they belong to somebody else.
Gavin? Oh, Gavin, I'm so glad I found you.
Hey, what are you doing here? I thought you were going to stay home and help your sister pack.
They kicked me out. They said I was slowing them down. So I can go to the preview with you after.
Oh, wonderful.
How does she do it? Not a hair out of place.
The difference is me.
How does she do it? Her hair looks as soft and silky as her mink.
The difference is mink.
Introducing Mink Difference. It's different from any other hairspray. It puts a silky hold on your hair because it's enriched with precious mink oil in every drop. So your hair feels soft and silky, like mink.
But it really keeps you in style.
New Mink Difference.
You can get your taste buds a singing when you taste the music of Nestle Crunch. Creamy milk chocolate is the melody. Crispy crunches are the harmony. The two together are music to munch. Come on and hum a few bars of Nestle Crunch. Foot stomping, lip smacking, hee-hawing, thigh slapping. Come taste the music, sweet music. Nestle Crunch.
For obvious reasons, I'm glad you're here. But I'm also glad you got out so you'd stop brooding.
Yeah, I think that's why Miles and Nicole suggested I leave. I was so absent-minded, I kept putting dishes in the book box. Anyway, I think they hated the way I kept staring at the phone.
Why were you doing that?
Because I thought it would ring. I expected Sky Whitney to be on the other end. I kept hoping.
Hoping? Why? You didn't want to talk to him, did you?
No, not really. But it just seems so much worse not hearing from him at all, not getting any kind of reaction from him.
Well, there's no more reaction needed. You quit, that's all there is to it. You want to hear it in French? C'est un fait accompli. How's that?
Well, it sounds very definite in French. Which, of course, reminds me of Martine. You know, I feel sorry for Sky. I mean, now he's lost two principal dancers.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
You know, I should really call Martine and tell her.
Why? She'll read it in the newspaper when they make the announcement of the postponement or the cancellation of the opening.
I wasn't talking just about the dance company. Gavin, I think Martine should know about us.
Now there are two of you. Well, I've got good news for you. Just about everything in the kitchen is ready on the menu, so take your pick.
Thanks.
What about you, honey? Oh, by the way, did you remember what I asked you? That you get yourself a picture for us to put on the wall right there next to Gavin in Sid's Hall of Fame?
I'd like that, being next to Gavin.
I figured you would.
Well, it's true. I like that more than anything in the world. Being next to you and working with you.
Try to keep it that way. I don't know how easy it'll be, though. How many jobs are there for a dancer and a choreographer?
Well, then I just won't work. I mean, I refuse to work without you. That's all there is to it.
Hey, don't worry about it so much.
Gavin, there is something that I'm really worried about. Gunther.
Don't ruin my appetite, huh?
No, I'm serious. He frightens me. He frightens me so much more than I can explain.
He won't bother you anymore. You can take my word for that.
Are you sure you didn't pick a fight with him when you went to see Sky? Did you keep your promise to me about that?
Yeah. I told you I'd stay cool, and that's exactly what I did. In fact, Gunther was a little cool, too.
What do you mean? What did you do?
Nothing.
Well, what's your pleasure, kids? Or haven't you been able to take your eyes off each other long enough to look at the menu?
straight up to bed. I'd like to sit on the sofa for a little while and get used to the idea of being here again.
I guess it's all right. It's just this way, Mrs. Saxon.
Yes, well, thank you, Chrissy. I believe I can find my way into the living room, all right?
Yes, ma'am. You can come in here and sit down for a little while, but then you have to go to bed because you need your strength.
For heaven's sake, Raven, stop worrying. I can manage very nicely. As a matter of fact, I think I could have managed perfectly well if you had just taken me to my own home.
But Geraldine, this is your home.
Beautiful.
Here's a little housewarming gift.
Oh, I'll get the glasses.
Use these. Puritan oil.
Puritan's part of our diet to fight cholesterol.
And it makes food taste great.
I always use corn oil. Puritan has more polyunsaturates than corn oil. It also looks lighter. It tastes lighter.
You have excellent taste in gifts.
Puritan, a delicious part of your diet to fight cholesterol.
You invite me over for a friendly dinner, and look what I find.
Another glass.
Eddie, it's got lipstick on it.
And just after this greasy pan.
It's not my shade.
Dawn will handle it.
After those greasy dishes?
Try it yourself.
Water doesn't feel greasy, or my hands. And this glass looks as good as the first one.
Dawn's great, huh?
Now, about the lipstick.
What lipstick?
Dawn takes grease out of your way.
The original Crazies are back.
It's Saturday night!
Still the cleverest species of them all.
Saturday night, the innovative show that broke all the rules and even changed the way we talk.
Cheeseburger, 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 cheeseburger!
Never mind.
Premiering Monday, September 21st, Saturday night, Monday to Friday evenings at 11, right here on Channel 48.
No, Raven. Despite the many years I lived in this house, it is no longer mine.
That is ridiculous. It's called the Whitney Mansion, isn't it? And even though your name is Saxon, you're still a Whitney. And I can still see Gordon Whitney's portrait hanging up here.
No. It's your house now, yours and Skylar's. You have to create your own ambience in this house. Fill it with your own memories.
That's true. We do have to fill it with ourselves.
And of course that takes time. A house needs aging like good wine or a good marriage.
Our marriage is ageless. It's always going to stay young.
Well, that's a worthy ambition.
It's not an ambition. It's determination. I'm always going to be young, and so is Scott. Maybe I can even get my picture to age instead of me like what's his name?
Dorian Gray.
Right. I don't want to change. I want everything to stay exactly the way it is.
Here's your tea, Mrs. Whitney.
Thank you. Mrs. Saxon would like 1 cup, and then she's going to go straight to bed.
Oh, all right, Ray. I'll climb into bed, and then after a few days, thank you, when I'm feeling stronger, I'll climb out of bed and go back to my own home where I belong.
We'll see about that. No, thank you. That will be all, Chrissy.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, tell me what it is about the Bryson girl you dislike so much. Frankly, I find her quite charming.
Oh, she is charming. She hides what she's really like. And as for that nonsense about her being innocent of her father's crimes, I don't believe that for a second.
Kelly tells me that she knew absolutely nothing about her father's practices. Now, Mike and Nancy are of that same opinion.
They are all blind. She spent months in her father's clinic at Lucerne. Of course she knew what was going on.
Apparently, very few people did. After all, it took years to apprehend Dr. Bryson.
Well, she did know a few of her father's patients only too well.
And what is that supposed to mean?
She was madly in love with one of them. Didn't you hear that story?
No, I did not.
Well, it's true. She was carrying on with one.
How I dislike phrases like carrying on.
Well, call it what you like. He was a veteran.
He had a total facial reconstruction, and she was mad for him.
And what do you mean by,
I was just wondering if Kelly knew.
Now, Raven, you mustn't start spreading ugly gossip. Kelly is very fond of that girl.
Well, don't you think that's all the more reason that he should know about Lieutenant Diedrichson?
Are you sure you don't want a drink, Valerie?
Oh, no thanks, Mike. Maybe I'll have a little wine with dinner.
I'll have the same, Mike, thanks.
You're absolutely certain. You know, there are times when it helps to be fortified.
Michael, you are a terrible tease. Aren't you going to tell her?
Tell me what?
Have you heard something new, Mike, about Switzerland?
About half an hour ago, I got a call from Zurich. It was Draper, and the subject was you, Valerie.
Have they found something out about my father?
Oh, it's nothing to be alarmed about, dear. Nothing wrong.
It's just that I dread this news from Draper Scott. I don't want to hear more about my father's criminal clients.
Mike, do you mean that number was actually a Swiss bank account?
Yes, it was. As a matter of fact, they've been exploring the possibility of such an account ever since the investigation started over there. It seemed logical to assume that your father had a numbered account so he could shelter some of those large fees he was collecting. The reason the Swiss bank authorities were willing to reveal it was because the account was in trust for you, Valerie.
For me?
That's right. Obviously, your father wanted to make certain that you were well taken care of.
Well, in my opinion, I don't think he was hiding it from the law or from the tax people. I think he was hiding it from his wife.
Well, from what Val has told me about her stepmother, that certainly makes sense.
I just never expected anything like this.
Just the same, it's true. I don't mean that there won't be some legal entanglements. I hope you understand that.
Oh, yes, yes, of course.
But sooner or later, that money, or most of it, will be in your hands. And you might as well know right now, it's sizable. In fact, it's several $1 million.
I grew up on small-town goodness and learning how to share, on eating right and warm sunlight and folks who really care. Well, small-town life tastes mighty nice. Let a smile fill your face. Taste Archway home-style cookies, the big cookie with a small-town taste.
Archway cookies are made with the finest ingredients and small-town goodness.
Taste Archway home-style cookies, the big cookie with a small-town taste.
Fresh in your store.
While you may know how well Saran Wrap works in the freezer, you may not know how well it works in the microwave oven. With a piece of ice, we're about to demonstrate how rugged Saran Wrap is. You see, the unique molecular structure of Saran Wrap makes it the perfect wrap for the freezer and the microwave. In fact, Saran Wrap can take the torture of going from freezer to microwave without melting, rupturing like other wraps do. Saran Wrap, the wrap that's tough enough to go from one extreme to the other. Saran Wrap from Dow.
Emily's more than a little curious when Bob refuses to discuss his old girlfriend. Tonight at 7 at the Bob Newhart Show. Then at 7:30, Archie eats and runs when he suspects that he has food poisoning on All in the Family.
Mike, do you mean to say that I'm sitting next to a millionaire?
A future one, anyway.
I can't believe this. Mike, it can't be this simple.
No, it's not going to be simple. But if there's no evidence to prove that your father's money was obtained illegally...
Apparently, most of his patients were legitimate.
It's my guess that after a period of time, that money most certainly will go to you, Valerie.
Honey, you know, that trust explains something that was very puzzling. Why Dr. Bryson was so determined to get that $1 million fee from Ira Gideon.
Clearly, he didn't want to touch the money in that account. It was meant for you, Valerie, only for you.
So you see, he was thinking of you all the time. Doesn't that prove it?
Oh, Nancy, I don't care if I never see that money. Just to know that about him.
Well, congratulations, Mike. I mean, you're figuring out that number in Val's father's letter was a bank account number.
That's the strange part of it, Kelly. It wasn't.
It wasn't?
It was not the number of that account.
You mean they still don't know what that number means?
Well, this might help. I jotted down some notes while I was talking to Draper. It It seems they've found some records of your father's which listed various sums he collected from his patients for surgical fees.
Because they weren't the patients' names, they were identifying numbers.
And this was one of the numbers.
Take a look, Val. 122879.
That's the number from the letter.
So your father included a patient's number, but why? Why would he do that?
I have no idea, Kelly.
Was there a date with it?
Right here.
September 19th, 1978.
Now, does that mean anything to you?
Yes. That would have been the day that Jim Diedrichson was released from my father's clinic. It's his payment. That's got to be his number.
Well, who's Jim Diedrichson?
And why would your father put that number in the letter? What was he trying to tell you, Valerie?
I have a horrible headache, and it hurts here and here. It feels like just sharp shooting pains that go back and forth.
What do you usually take for headaches?
I've been taking aspirin for headaches for about 20 years.
Interesting, Billy, because the #1 selling brand of pain reliever doesn't contain aspirin.
What is #1?
It's Tylenol.
You're kidding.
Today, we'd like you to try extra strength Tylenol. You know you can't buy a more potent pain reliever without a prescription.
I would prefer to find out for myself.
Look at the difference in the amount of medicine in the leading pain relievers.
Extra strength Tylenol has more medication. I still would like to know how it works on me. I'm very, very pleased. My headache's gone and extra strength Tylenol did it. I'm going to buy extra strength Tylenol for me to take, and my husband's going to take it too.
Try extra strength Tylenol. Capsules and tablets. Aspirin-free. And you can't buy a more potent pain reliever without a prescription.
The headache is just gone. I feel fine.